Monday Night Live yet again, and what an episode we have today, because it is, of course, following on the day prior to the Asia Cup 2025. My name's Avanish, dressed in the India blue, but we have the black and white of cricket.com as ever. Akshay Kumar Swami in black, Nikhil Popar in white. Boys, good to see you. How's the week been? How's September been, Akshay? I'll start with you.
Yeah, it's been a very hectic start, to say the least. Of course, those who would know. It's been pretty busy. Just been caught off guard in a lot of ways. So just trying to assess everything and just trying to stay afloat and trying to stay calm. Importantly, but yeah, it's been a very interesting start. Did watch a couple of movies as well for what it's worth. Watched that one on IMAX, and boy, was that an experience or what. So that was fantastic. But apart from that, yeah, all good.
Yeah, it's good to distract yourselves in terms of the hullabaloo, like you said, which we'd probably touch upon some point in time. I don't want to give too much away. But Nikhil, any distractions for you this weekend?
The first one is this: we celebrated Teachers' Day at home. We had a good, nice party because it's important. Life is taken up some strict lessons this year, it seems. But as cricket, I don't think I can take any more inspiration from cricket in terms of taking one day at a time. But again, it's how life throws you challenges, and you find a way to deal with it. Good Ganpati festival to get myself distracted. Never been visiting so many pandals that I have this year. And again, all that was done because my daughter just said, "Ki, I want to go." And sometimes I just find I never had this energy in me. But when she says something and then you just feel obliged, ki, bhai. She's then the dalnas. Usne bola, matlab hona chahiye. So it is good. She keeps me distracted, but she also then inquires about a lot of things. Ke, why is South Africa having only 9 wickets down and this is done? Why this? Why that? So it's good. She's prepping for the Women's World Cup as well. So that's good to know.
Yeah, I mean, so much to take in what you said right there. And with the Ganpati festival, I think it's a sight to behold, especially in Maharashtra, but any part of the world as well. And want to just, of course, wish everyone on cricket.com's behalf. Akshay, festivities for you this weekend. Like you said, you did the IMAX and stuff, but I was just going to kind of tell you about mine, because you have to check out this one Japanese resto bar, which has come up in Indranagar, called Katana, which is absolutely beautiful. I had a damn good meal there in the weekend following my pickleball. I think I've become a part-time pickleball player just to distract myself. But any plans for racket sports down the lane, bud, for you? Tennis, paddle, pickleball?
I mean, you also gave me that invite. My friends also, I met them over the weekend. They've also been harping about it. They're like, you should really, give it a shot. It's great fun. I'll have to actually take that offer up sometime. Probably this weekend is around. I'm going to give it a shot because everyone seems to be playing it.
Next, honestly, even you should take the daughter and the wife to just play pickleball, because it's honestly for everyone. And if there's a 700% boom in that sport in India, they're doing something right? So maybe you should try pickleball sometime.
Yeah, I already have a list of
guys, so much to talk about, including what Nix was just talking about in terms of South Africa, because they did win another ODI series 2-1, but they got their pants pulled down, to say the least, which also kind of is part of our secondary chat today in terms of the most one-sided ODIs we've seen, and there's some good ones in that list. But first and foremost, Asia Cup 2025, it's a T20 format. I know they've always kind of muddled the formats depending on which kind of World Cup follows. In this case, of course, the T20 scheme of things, 8 teams. Good to see that, Akshay, because the last time the T20 competition in the Asia Cup scheme of things happened, 6 teams. Now it's 8, and we've seen 3 associates qualified, to say the least, from the ACC Men's Premier Cup. But my question to you is, does that actually add a sheen to this competition, another layer? 8 teams, and then so much at stake.
I mean, does it add a sheen? Sure, you can say that. And you would, of course, naturally want to see a lot more teams taking part. And for someone like me, especially because apart from the fact that I'll be, watching the likes of UAE, Oman, Nepal, and some of the lesser known names there's very little other incentive for me because, Sri Lanka, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and the likes, we do keep seeing them in bilaterals, and it's these newbies and new names that you might not have seen enough of, you would want to see. So that's the kind of person I am. Of course, for others, Team India coming back and playing some cricket after a bit of a break. So I'm guessing a lot of people would be excited for that. Or in Asia Cup, like we discussed, man, the tournament, Yeah, I don't know. Like, given how far ahead India is, compared to the rest of the pack, I don't know how competitive will it be.
Yeah, I just want to set some context going into this Asia Cup next. The fact that, yeah, everyone's talking about India, Pakistan, how they can potentially play thrice. In fact, people are saying the whole Super Force format is made for India, Pakistan to play again. But again, it opens up an opportunity for anyone from Group B to really prove their salt in this competition and say, you know what, we can win it. And I'm wearing, of course, an India jersey, but I was thinking of wearing Afghanistan's jersey, and I feel they're going to have a brilliant run in this competition, even though they played very little T20 cricket since the World Cup last year. And we'll touch upon all teams in just a bit. But your first thoughts about Asia Cup, the competition, and 8 teams, do you think we're actually going to find one hell of a winner, given that we're 6 months away from the World Cup?
I think firstly on the tournament, always happy to see more teams playing, and I think that is the incentive behind the Asia Cup, that you get to see uh, teams that you don't often see. So welcome Oman. Very keen to see how that pans out. So I would have loved to have quite a few more people from the Oman fraternity that I have been playing uh, in other ways, in terms of it's very stupid to even say in other ways now, but the people I've seen them play T10s and T20s and whatnot in domestic structure, not all of them are going to be here, but there is Jatinder Singh and sorts. So I have seen them, but the world hasn't. And that's a good insight, or a good thing that for the world to see that there are a few very good talents who we often see only from World Cups to World Cups or tournaments to tournaments. So I think in that sense, that is my only purpose behind looking forward to Asia Cup, because I don't think that you can gauge much about how well Pakistan have come or how well India have done or how well Sri Lanka may do, because eventually you are going to see them play each other far more often. What I want to see is, like with UAE, they got into good positions in the tri series. Now, have they learned their lesson? Can they do better next time Asif Khan is in a tricky situation? What does Wasim Mohammed do when he comes into those situations again? So, those are the things that I'm really looking forward to. And yeah, of course, I think there will be quite a few individual stories to follow. But overall, underdog FC, and hopefully we have Afghanistan winning, because it's been a while and this has been a year. So, why not?
That'll be the dream, I think, from an Indian perspective. India Afghanistan final, and then whoever wins, great, because of course it doesn't matter for India if they win this competition or not, but there's a lot at stake, and India go into it as overwhelming favorites. But again, I was just looking at the ACC Men's Premier Cup and all the teams kind of vying for a spot in this year's Asia Cup. So close for Nepal wasn't to be. Other teams such as Bahrain put on a good fight. There was, of course, glimpses from Kuwait, Cambodia. But it was, of course, UAE, Oman, and Hong Kong to make it out of that kind of 10-team comp and then come through to this. Final one on the Asia Cup history for both of y'all. When I just mentioned this tournament, what is the first thing which hits your mind? Akshay, I'll start with you.
I think there's a clear-cut answer, and it's an answer I don't think a lot of people would think of. Ajanta Mendes, 6 for 13, June 29th, 2008. I think it would be, that was the date. I'll never forget that, man, because again, no one saw that coming. No one had even heard of his name. And Sri Lanka had supposedly sort of held on to him because they knew he would be the trump card in the final. So apparently that was the reason why they hadn't played him all tournament. And we've all gone, our side, we've got so many good players and whatnot. And I'm guessing it was the last time India played in Pakistan. So that also I have vague memories of, India playing a couple of games in Pakistan. So that was then, yeah, that final was something else altogether. So not Virat's 183, not any of that. It has to be this for me.
Okay, that's a good one. Yeah, that I think tournament, India played Hong Kong, and weirdly, I remember that game for some reason. Raina and Dhoni scored hundreds. It was in Karachi. I think we absolutely wiped the floor with them, but that kind of stands tall for me. And then, of course, Asia Cup ODI history for me is much more, because I'm a 90s boy. So that first Asia Cup in 2000, I think Ganguly was captain, hot day in Dhaka. I think they take here on Sri Lanka, and it was a great game to see. But it's kind of really transformed over the years. The one which kind of catches my mind is the 2022 final. Even though India weren't playing in it, it was the Bhanuka Rajapaksa final in many ways. That 71 of 45 blitz against Pakistan from a crazy position. So lots of neutral memories also. But Nick's, over to you. Where or how or when do you remember this tournament, and for what reason?
So a couple are already taken. Of course, Ajanta Mendes, you remember some of those dismissals as fresh as it happened just a few hours ago. So that, of course, there is Vinat's 183, which was the first time I had to just sit down and be like, भाई इसको देखने में बहुत मजा आएगा. Because for a long time I have wanted to see somebody just come back with that nice static wala bat, just coming down, whipping, doing stuff to spin, which we hope he can do again now. But that's the challenge of time. The one game that really stands out for me, apart from all of those, is the tied ODI between Afghanistan and India, which was hilarious. But a quiz question for you. Okay, I just wanted to cross check, so I opened up the scorecard. Can you name India's top three in that game? And who made debut for India in that game? I don't think anybody can come even close to this.
Who made debut? Did Vijay Shankar make his debut there?
No.
Top three, right? 4 पे था मेरे को याद है, because that's when he was given that full run and then he moved.
Top three से मेरे. We have
I'm guessing 10 धवन तो नहीं है.
पूछा है तो obvious होगा थोड़ा कि it will not be the common names.
I know Jadeja was the guy who got. Who was there back then? Parther?
No, let me spill the wins because we will not get it. So Deepak Char made his ODI debut in that very game, which is in any which case feels very weird. Asia Cup mein debut mara, theek. But the top three in that game, if I can read a platform correctly, KL Rahul, Ambati Rayudu, and Dinesh.
Oh, bhai, Rayudu opened.
So now I want to cross again because I can't believe.
That is incredible. I mean, that was the time. Yeah, that was the time I think even the Nikhil trophy was going to happen and Karthik was getting a lot of time. Shankar, like you mentioned over there. So it was just a weird sort of bunch of names that Knicks threw up over there. But some strange guys who played Asia Cup for India over the years. I mean, I remember Manpreet Goni's played this competition. Pawan Negi played this competition in 2016.
Siddharth Kaul played that game.
Siddharth Kaul has played this competition. Kedar Jadhav's played this competition. So a lot of players have played this competition. Lots of comments, by the way. Apologies if we haven't taken them so far. Hello to everyone. Hello, Shashwat, sports fan, saying hi, guys. Vikas saying Avanish Pickleball Ambassador. Nikhil Baiju, good to see you after a while. South Africa need to move on from Babuma. We'll talk about them in a bit. Shashwat saying, Akshay, do you know why Nepal is in there? They didn't qualify. As simple as that.
They lost to Hong Kong. And I misspoke earlier. Apologies for that. If I'm not wrong, I said Nepal, Hong Kong, Oman, and UAE, of course.
Fair. Saeed Nizamuddin, good to see you. India's favorite to win the Asia Cup. They are for sure. But just imagine if they don't win it. What are the repercussions from that? We'll talk about it. Nikhil Baiju saying, first thought about the Asia Cups. India-Pakistan final has never happened. It's never happened. If the law of averages catch up with India and Pakistan this time, great. It'll be literally the broadcaster's dream. Mayank saying it's 2025 and our team, which is quality team, still participating in a low-grade competitive tournament like the Asia Cup would have been better to do a tour of West Indies rather than this irrelevant tournament. I beg to differ. I feel like, look, if you want to grow cricket at this part of the world and there are various sub-competitions happening prior to the main Asia Cup, which is even the Asia, what is that cup called where Hong Kong, Malaysia, Singapore take on each other? The Asia Pacific Champions Cup or something like that. And I think Hong Kong won that. And on the behest of that, they've entered this ACC Premier Cup to fight like the Middle Eastern teams and stuff like that. So it's kind of putting cricket on the map, so to speak. And it's only going to be better, even though they're going to be one-sided affairs. Vikas saying Virat's 100, of course, just a dead rubber. Wait for the 100 that was. I mean, Virat's 100, I think he's talking about the one that he got against Afghanistan, the 122. Yeah. India went into the Super 4 in that competition and then they lost to both Pakistan and Sri Lanka. So it's been pretty crazy. Greg saying, I can't believe it's been 40 days since our last international outing. It is what it is. I mean, it's a breather. India kind of normally play 10 months of the year. So it's that 2 months we're experiencing right now. So let's start with teams then really quickly because we're 15 minutes into the Monday Night Live and appreciate a like and a comment if you guys are listening or watching from anywhere. Akshay, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, where should we start? Who should we start with? Should we go in Group A and Group B format?
Sure, let's do that. That works.
Cool. So then the tournament opener is, of course, Afghanistan, and they're taking Hong Kong, which is pretty sad because I think UAE should have played the opener given that they're hosting it. Afghanistan, Hong Kong anyway. So Afghanistan, let's preview them, Knicks. spin quartet, Noor, Ghazanfar, Rashid, and Mujib. The fact that they've had cricketers who've lived in this part of the world, it's pretty much their home crowd. There will be partisan crowd. There is going to be conditions, probably 160, 170 par things. Does that mean Afghanistan are already into, I don't know, the dying embers of the tournament, let alone the final?
I mean, if the history in terms of tournaments is something to go by, as long as they hold their catches, I just want to get out there as early as possible. As long as they hold their catches, I'm sure they'll do well. I think there are a few caveats, there are a few glaring concerns, and I think some of those came to fore in the tri series as well in the final itself, where they just collapsed against spin. So I think it's only the batting that can cost them. I think their bowling is as good. I can't think of a team that can have three such good options who can really give you absolute control and give you nothing to work with. And we haven't even seen Ghazanfar do what we expected him to do. So maybe he's holding himself back. Maybe there is something else happening. But you see that squad, I think it's only the batting that has to click. And if that clicks, I feel they will go a long way. Plenty, of course, riding on the two openers who haven't quite done as well as they would expect them to. I think Gurbaz is a name who I still feel is better suited to 50 over format. But Saribullah had a few good knocks in the recent times. So I would expect him and Ibrahim to really shoulder that responsibility. And hopefully Azmat can really come up with the goods, because generally feel slightly disappointed by his returns with the bat in the recent times in this format. So yeah, that's on the batting.
I look at one name, Akshay, and that guy is featured in every Afghanistan T20, I think, Mohammad Nabi. I think 15 years ago when India played them in St. Lucia, I think it's incredible how he's still been from that team, experienced the journeys, the highs and lows, the World Cup semi-final last year and all of that stuff. How do you think they'll go, bro? I mean, honestly, we can kind of guess on paper. You like a couple of blokes. I think Sadiqullah Atal is a guy that you really fancy at the top of the order. And then they just have a knack to get the best of their all-rounders. You're talking Gulbuddin Naib and then Rashid and your Kareem Jannat. Do you think they can have a tournament to remember?
They definitely can. And like, someone, like a lot of them have been speaking about, I don't think Afghanistan now defeating any of these nations should be called an upset. They are definitely a side to beat, and they're definitely a very good side. And like we discussed last week as well, right? Like when those journalists in that pre-tournament presser spoke about how Afghanistan is the second best team playing nation in Asia, they're not entirely off when they say something like that. So surely they've come a long way from that 2010 T20 World Cup. And the kind of names, you mentioned, all-rounders, sure, you can say, the likes of Kareem Jannat and Gulbuddin Naib, the more bits and pieces, so to say, than, say, I would like. That's why someone like Najibullah Zadran is who I would prefer, and the kind of spin bowling all-rounders that they have in general. Of course, Najib, I just said as an example. So that's where they would be banking on the spinners over their pacers. The kind of names, the troika of Noor, Allah Ghazanfar and Rashid Khan will definitely be one to watch out for. With the bat, yeah, man. Sadiqullah Atal, we saw glimpses of him in the IPL, but this time I think he will be the guy that they'll be rooting for when it comes to the big runs, because Gurbaz himself hasn't been in the greatest of form. So there'll be a lot of expectations there. Then you've got someone like an Omarzai, who has been plying his trade across the world now. So he's got a fair bit of experience himself. So there'll be a lot more on his plate. So the expectations that way, I don't know how will they fare, because this is arguably the first time that Afghanistan enters the tournament with certain expectations. Because till last year, till the T20 World Cup, Afghanistan was always that underdog everyone rooted for. Yeah, you know what? This is everyone's second favorite team, and we want them to do well. Now we know. Now almost everyone's sort of stood up and taken notice of the fact that these guys aren't here just to make up the numbers. And with the ball, Fazal Farooqi, once again, sure, the conditions might not be in their favor in terms of how Dubai would play, for instance. But even then, someone like a Fazal Farooqi would sort of play a very big role for them with the new ball. Batting, I agree with Nikhil, but it's going to be very difficult. Very difficult as in it's going to be their weaker suit for sure. And barring Sadiqullah Atal and maybe to some extent Omarzai, should he be promoted up the order, I don't know how will that batting function in general.
Okay, let's take some comments right now about Afghanistan, because a lot of people are pouring in their thoughts, and we appreciate that. Another big problem with Afghanistan is their batting collapse. I mean, they have had that, but every team kind of goes through those. I mean, Sri Lanka will come upon them in a bit, but they got absolutely an eye-opening loss to Zimbabwe not too long ago. So it could happen in this format. Omarzai should not be batting at 6. He should be batting in number 4 without a doubt, ahead of Rasuli Singh Shashwat. And sports fans saying they look like a beast unit while defending, but how do you rate Afghanistan as a chasing side? It's a good point that they bring up, Nix, because there are, of course, people saying that they're a bowling-heavy side, and there's enough merit to say that. But does the batting give you more conviction this time, especially if they're chasing, I don't know, 210 and a flat deck in Abu Dhabi? Do you expect them to come up trumps?
No, at this point of time, I don't think it gives you that confidence. It's going to take a lot to say that Afghanistan's batting is going to give anyone more confidence than the bowling, because I think the bowling is just has far too much skill involved that even if a couple of them have an off day, they would still find a way to keep things in control. But the batting, you have to understand they are on a different journey as a cricketing nation. All the other sides, and it is to their immense will and courage that they've fast-tracked themselves to this format, where even South Africa, if you look at it, they have similar kind of data when you look at their numbers in ODIs. They are a far better first batting side as compared to chasing side, and Afghanistan is in the same place in the T20s. So it's very weird phenomenon, because usually in this format everybody likes to chase, but it is something maybe they haven't done enough, which is a stupid thing to see or say, but maybe they just find a lot more solace in terms of having scoreboard pressure, and then it works out really well for the bowlers. So, and that is what we are here to see, right? If they are the ones, because we know you will play a part, and it's a given. So conditions may change. Maybe it might mean that they might want to change their strategy and chase and see if they can do it enough number of times. But it will also mean more responsibility on the likes of Gurbaz, Ibrahim, and then, which is why I feel Azmat can be batting higher up the order. They can be your anchors, and then the others can really have the shots. And Sadiqullah is again a very good talent. So it is, you can't say that this can be a practice for them in terms of Asia Cup, but I generally hope they can do better as a batting unit, because I feel they sometimes lack the tempo of a chasing side. And it is tricky in T20s, because before you understand, you either lose too many wickets or you're too far behind the rate. So it is something you'll only do better once you do enough of it.
Yeah. I mean, I was just looking even at that tri-series, guys, and some of the evidence there through highlights and scorecards. They've gone for their 6 proper bowlers in Fazalak and Omarzai with the new ball, and then those 4 spinners. And that 66 collapse doesn't bode well in that tri-series final for Afghanistan, but it is what it is. Shashwat saying, the president, Navi, Syed saying, Jab bhi Afghanistan ke openers fail hote hai, ye team struggle karti hai. I mean, hope that's not the case, and hope they kind of have a lot more heroes in this tournament. Whereas Najibullah Zadran thought he was doing decently down the order. I think they've looked past him, to be fair. And Shashwat saying Afghanistan's best 11, in my opinion: Gurbaz, Atal, Zadran, Omarzai, Rasuli, Nabi, Naeeb, Rashid, Alaz Agazanfar, Noor, and Fazal. And the top 3 of Gurbaz, Atal, and Zadran just reminds me of Park's 2021 top 3 of Rizwan, Babar, and Fakar. I hope they kind of kick on, and they've realized that, they need to get on in maximize the power play, even though it's an obvious thing to tell any modern day opener that. Nawaz's first wicket was pitching outside clearly. I mean, I saw highlights of that final, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and they did well to restrict them to 141, but then again, chasing that much on a tricky wicket, they should have applied themselves better. Just to finish off Afghanistan, because I don't know if this means anything in the tournament dynamics, but they play the tournament opener, which is, of course, the 9th of September. Then they have a week's break. So it'll be interesting to see if they do well in that game. And I'm guessing if they absolutely pound the living daylights of Hong Kong and then get their net run rate going, they can see how this group shapes up and then play later on that group back-to-back games on the 16th and 18th for them. But time will tell. Do you guys have Afghanistan to finish out of Group B in terms of the 2 spots?
I mean, I have them as
Ideally
winners. So it would be
we're saying them that they're winners, so they have to qualify.
Fine. So full house then. We all have Afghanistan qualifying. Let's move on and talk about who's playing them in the opener. Hong Kong, if we're going to preview them. We are probably going to preview them shortly in touching upon what the outside cricket world fans know about this team. I mean, can you guys just give me a glimpse of what cricket we can expect Hong Kong to play? Nick, I'll start with you.
I think we've seen enough of them in the Asia Cup at least. They've been part of quite a few, 5 of them if I'm not wrong. So there are some very good names if you're looking forward to those names, especially Babar. I probably he's the highest scorer right now in this format, and he's going to play this edition, which tells you that there is enough merit and enough, I wouldn't want to say oomph, but there is enough talent in that group to surprise you and have you surprised. There is Murtaza who was the captain who did well the last time we saw them play. So there is Anshuman Rath who's played well in the past for them. Babarat is someone I have always looked forward to, Mickey. Someone who can smack anyone that comes along his way. So I don't know how the batting will sign up because I always bowler FC. So there is Adil Khan who I'm sure will be playing. There is Arshad, there is Kodja. I know a lot of them. I'm not quite sure how will they rank up against better teams because for their level, I think they are good. But again, when you play tougher opponents, you learn the craft more. But I won't be surprised if they put people under pressure. But do they have in them to really close good positions? That is something that I'm looking forward to from both them and UAE.
Who can they hurt in this group, Akshay? I mean, we just touched upon it with Afghanistan. This group is so nip and tuck. And given there is a lot of needle between some of the sides in this group as well, it'll be interesting to see the top two of this group. But can Hong Kong beat, I don't know, Bangladesh in their day? Because they've had decent results leading up to the World Cup. The Asia Cup. But like Nick said, it's a gulf in class when you're playing this elite format.
Shabash. For a change, we have a ritual, and that Akshay has done it in terms of speaking on mute. Well done.
Wow. I thought, okay, fair. But yeah, I was saying, if anything, I actually think their best shot is versus Afghanistan because I do believe that Afghanistan have the weakest batting lineup over there in that, group. Because Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, both at least have decent batters who individually can, win them games or come up with solid performances. I don't think the same can be said about Afghanistan. So the best chance for Hong Kong is win the toss, bowl first, try and bowl the Afghani batters out to for a very paltry total, and then try and chase it down. But that's where, of course, you will be facing the caliber of the Afghan spinners for the first time. So that's something that they will still sort of find very difficult. But yeah, their best shot I would still imagine is versus someone like in Afghanistan, because Bangladesh, even if you look at the batters, bowlers, which we'll talk about in due course, I think they have enough meat in both departments. This is, I would say, true for both Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. So given that, I would say Hong Kong would find it a lot more difficult.
Yeah, they kind of have their fixtures stacked up, and they play 9th and then, of course, on the 11th as well. So it'll be interesting to see. The 9th and 11th. Got my dates right there. Kaushal Silva is a coach. I don't know if there's any sort of sprinkling of magic he can do from the sides, but I think it'll come down to the experience of, like the names Nick's mentioned, because we've seen those guys, and if they can have anything to punch above their weight, it'll be brilliant. So we wish Hong Kong well. The second game of the competition is Wednesday, and that'll be UAE India, and that comes from Dubai. So let's talk about UAE really quickly. Are they just making up the numbers in this particular competition? Because Akshay, I'll start with you. Nikhil spoke about UAE a little bit at the start of the program, where he said they've kind of got into advantageous positions and then they kind of really folded from there. Can UAE kind of do anything to give us a glimpse that they are the next rising Asian team?
Of the three sides or the three associate nations, UAE definitely are the strongest, and with good reason. The ILT20 has done wonders for some of these names, who've gotten regular chances at playing top tier cricket. So someone like a Mohammad Wasim, we all know the records, the number of sixes hit, the number of runs scored in a calendar, and all those records that he holds. So he's definitely going to be of great value to them. The kind of performances and the kind of scores he manages to rack up in the power play would sort of go a long way in dictating how UAE perform firstly with the bat. You've got someone like an Alishan Sharafo as well over there. Unfortunately, no Vidya Arvind anymore. Of course, it's been a while, but yeah, that's still worth mentioning. Someone like an Ayan Afzal Khan, I did not see his name in the squad. Could you just have the squad graphic out? He is there, right? Because I did not spot his name and I was very surprised. And I still don't see his name. Where is Ayan Afzal Khan? I don't know if this graphic is then not. If it's not updated, then that's going to be a huge blow because Ayan Afzal Khan is definitely another name to watch out for. Gun all rounder, very young, 21 years old, left hand batter, left arm spinner. He was definitely touted to be the next big thing from UAE. Not sure if it's injury or what. Unfortunately, UAE squad ka utna kuch report nahi aata. So that's going to be a bit of a miss. Someone like a Jawadullah is whom I'm really looking forward to. He's been doing consistently well across the last 3 seasons of the ILT20. Left arm pacer, very quick. He's also got a bit of that sling in him, and that could potentially be a bit of an X factor when it compares to how the other sides look at him. And apart from that, there are a few new names. Harshit Kaushik, haven't seen much of. Rahul Chopra, the keeper, he's also been a part of the Desert Vipers. So you've seen a bit of most of these names thanks to the ILT20, especially the batters. But that bowling definitely seems really raw. I was expecting someone like a Sanchit Sharma as well to be included. He's also not, found a spot. Lot of names that way, both for UAE and Oman. Like it seems like I don't know if they're sort of starting afresh or are these names that we haven't seen much of. So wo pata nahi hai. And I was just about to mention what Freaking Awesome has stated over here. We all remember in 2023 when that T20I series happened, the 3-match T20I series between UAE and New Zealand. They defeated them. So they've shown some potential over there. UAE has definitely, come a long way from, say, the 2015 ODI World Cup when they were literally just making up the numbers. So gone are the days where you did not know, or you were just depending on a Rohan Mustafa or something to do well. I think they've now managed to develop a lot more names. So fingers crossed, if they can somehow at least manage to come up with a good performance, if not a win necessarily against India or Pakistan, then yeah, you never know.
Yeah, I mean, Shashwat also saying UAE Oman will be fun because that's the other group, that's the other team in their group. So that'll be like neighbors rivalry over there. I hope UAE kind of do upset one of the teams because I don't see them making the Super 4, let's be honest. I mean, the last time India played UAE in the Asia Cup, I think 2016, they kind of got bowled up for 81 and then we just ran them over. Yuvraj batted one down that day. I was just looking at the scorecard as well. But that's with UAE. Let's move on. The third match is Bangladesh, Hong Kong. But I'll say Bangladesh and Sri Lanka for the last two teams that we want to preview. Let's move on to Oman and Pakistan. And really quickly touch upon Oman, Nick. I mean, just the fact that they've kind of gone through a lot. I was just reading some random article the other day about their pay crisis. They've had a lot of instability. We know how their Al Amarat venue kind of hosts a lot of Premier competitions. They kind of get some sort of revenue coming along their way. But from a cricket scheme of things, they're one of the three teams to qualify from that Men's Premier Asia Cup. Are they in the league of the UAE, like Akshay said, or do you think they're just a shade below because they don't have that many cricketers playing all these global franchise leagues?
I think there are a team that's going to get there in a while, and you have to give them that time to get there. Again, I'll sound like I know a lot of them because I've seen a lot of them play. Jajinder Singh right there, upstart, the guy who can really, again, we've seen Jajinder Singh, so not speak much about him. There is Vinay Shukla, there is Ashish Sodar. Amir Kalmi is a good all-rounder in domestic cricket. We've seen him open the batting as well and also open the bowling. You have Mohammad Nadeem, who we've seen in the past, good medium pacer, can get the ball to move, and he will have enough support from Shakil Ahmed, who's also one of their premier options with the ball. So there is also Samay Srivastava who can bowl spin. So I think they have the people. I just hope they can find a way to get the bowling right because I think the batting will depend massively on the likes of Jajinder Singh because there is no Aqib Ilyas who I don't know how many people remember, but Zishan Maqsood, Aqib Ilyas, these are these standard names that you would always see play in Oman games, but they are not there now. So I'm keen to see which of the other options can step up in their absence because everyone, Karan Sonawale, I've seen him play in the past. Amir Kalim, I mentioned just a while back. They can all do the job, but can they do the job enough under pressure on the big stage? Well, that is something to be seen.
Oman, Akshay, what do you know? What can you tell us? Because people, again, will be tuning into some of their games. I think they play India on a Friday night, which will be pretty massive for them in terms of their small cricket community. I'm not going to ask a giant kill anyone in this group. I'm just going to ask you about what can we expect to see? And do you think they can at least beat UAE? It'll be pretty cool if they do.
It will be, but it's going to be very unlikely. And good that you brought up the pay dispute. I'd completely forgotten about it. A big reason why you aren't seeing so many of their first 11 players is because of the pay dispute. A lot of these players have actually stopped playing cricket, which is why I was wondering where are the likes of, Kalimullah, there's Fayaz, but all of these bowlers, Zishan Maqsood, like Nikhil Bhai said, and how can we forget Pratik Atavale, there's Naseem Khushi. There were so many of these names. I was wondering, and especially World Cup, we saw Akib Ilyas and all of them. That's been a huge blow. And we have to understand that the ACC Premier Cup happened early last year, early 2024, when they had a full strength squad that made it to the final. This time around, barring a Jatinder Singh, who himself unfortunately is no longer a first 11 player, had they had a full strength squad. So it is going to be very difficult, to be honest. And I now will have to say, given the changes that we are seeing with the Omani side, they are definitely the weakest of the three sides for me. So it's going to be very difficult. And I would, more than weakest, I'll say they are the most unknown. They are the most inexperienced because we've not seen any of these players. I've personally not seen any of them play, barring Jatinder Singh, who was a part of the 2021 T20 World Cup as well. So it's going to be very difficult because none of them have played top flight cricket. So, when you're all of a sudden bowling to a sky or facing, some of these Indian bowlers, then I don't know how will they stack up against them. It's going to be really difficult. So I'm not expecting too much, but fingers crossed we'll still see some decent showing from them.
And again, with them, it's a remarkable story because 2015 was the year they got T20 international status. I think they beat Namibia in a qualifying game that time to attain that status. And since then, they've come a long way. And hopefully they can kick on from here because I know they're in a group with India and Pakistan. And I feel that'll be a huge, huge test in terms of where they've come as a team. And those two boys, like you keep saying, guys, Jatinder Singh and the names that you guys have spilled out have been torchbearers. So they've been literally office boys behind the desk, kind of working, making cricket as their secondary job. And now they've kind of come to the Asia Cup with all their mercy. So let's see how they go about it. Let's talk about Pakistan then, because Pakistan's first game is against Oman. And I wish Oman really just have a day that the USA enjoyed against Pakistan in that T20 World Cup last year. But Nick, I'll start with you here, Pakistan. Salman Ali Agha, he's captained them about 22 times. And him as a player, he's kind of diminished a little bit because I feel like he's taken more responsibility and it's affected his numbers. They have a lot of slow bowling options. There's no Babar, there's no Rizwan, there's no Naseem Shah, which bewilders me because he's playing the CPL. But do you think because this tournament favors India-Pakistan in the final from logistics and scheduling perspective, they should make it? Is there a logical case for that?
I will just hope the cricketing gods continue to show what they want to show. That is all that I'm going to say on that. Because I think a lot of water has overflown under the bridge to feel differently now for those kind of contests. But just to look at the team as a whole, I think they've started, again, it's not a surprise that Mike Hassan goes somewhere and puts a few processes in place. He may have had a few complaints at the start of his stint, but you could see the makeup of the side in terms of the options that they want to have in their team. Still not quite sold on the usage of some of those folks. I mean, Mohammad Aris down the order. If you saw that try series, he didn't quite have a good time facing spin. Almost looked like he couldn't buy a run. So, but I don't think there's a space, or is there a space for just replacing someone like a Saifzada Farhan with him? Maybe not, maybe yes. So that is a call that they'll have to take. I think the good thing that for them is they are coming into this on the back of a very testing try series. And I say testing because, as we saw, Afghanistan did have them in check, and they came quite close in terms of putting so much pressure on that batting unit. So even before that, when they last played, I think they played Bangladesh and they lost to them. But there are lessons to take out from them. And Saim Ayub, again, someone that we are looking forward to see that how does he go as a young talent. So I think they've always had the people. Now it's about them clicking together to this strategy where they want to bat deep. They're not quite playing all the best options in terms of the ball. but that's a road that many teams are now taking in terms of playing lesser specialists and backing more all-rounders in their team. So let's see how it goes.
Yeah, they almost have 6, 7 slower bowling options, and you look at some of the names on that list, which is depicted right now. Even as neutral cricket fans, we have heard and seen them. There are a few unknown quantities, and say someone like a Sufyan Mukim. There's of course that opener who's Saib Azadan Farhan, who's of course batted for them in this recent Tri-Series. Sam Ayub, brilliant youngster, but inconsistency, to be fair. So let's see how they all come together. And Shaheen Shah Afridi as well. I think it'll be a huge test for him because I think off late he's not been the wicket taker that Pakistan want him to be. Lots of comments coming with regards to the Pakistan preview here. Can Fahim Ashraf concede 6 sixes in the over in this Asia Cup? Sahib Zada is a good batsman. Farhan is a middle order batter and Hassan Nawaz is an opener. Why has Hesson switched their positions? Any idea? Look, Hesson's come in and clean shop. He's like, I will do it my way. I know there's instability in Pakistan cricket, but till I have the reins, I will literally do it my way. And he's grabbed the bull by its horns, taken Babar and Rizwan out of the team, infusing new energy. He's called Fakhar Zaman back, maybe had different messaging for him as well. Akshay, over to you in terms of Pakistan. It is all likely that India-Pakistan top the group, right? But now it's about them coming out of that Super 4 and then probably facing India again in the final. Can this so-called transitional Pakistan team in T20s have a really good outing in the Asia Cup before the World Cup next year?
See, T20 is a format that lends itself to volatility, right? And volatility is almost another name for Pakistan. You just don't know what to expect from them. And this has been the case for the better part of the last decade or so. And even with the side, all things said and done, and sure, we can talk about the kind of performances they had in the Tri-Series. You just don't know on that day, Fakhar Zaman can come and just blow the opposition. Or someone like a Shaheen Shah Afridi on his day can just come with those, darting in swingers and then take out your top three in no time. So it's you can count them out at your own peril, firstly. So I wouldn't do the mistake of counting them out entirely. Where I'm interested, or what I'm interested in when it comes to Mike Hesson and the way he goes about it is, he, like me, is a proud member of All Rounder FC. He's very clear. He likes to have a lot of batters, a lot of bowlers, at least a lot of options. So I want to see with this Pakistani side, and in general, given how the Pakistani talent pool is also filled with all rounders, both spin bowling and pace bowling all rounders, how does he go about it? And what sort of a lineup do we see ahead of the World Cup? Keeping the World Cup in mind, what does he do? That's something I'm interested in seeing. So some of the names you mentioned over here, the likes of Fahim Ashraf and whatnot, it's like a throwback for me. Ki bhai, matlab, inko kahan se utha ke wapas la rahe ho? But the fact that now they are backing some of these names, so I want to see how much of a role has Mike Hesson himself played in some of these all-rounders being picked, and if so, then how are they going to be used? Because it's not going to be easy with the Pakistani side. We've all spoken and seen ourselves the kind of instability that Pakistani has associated itself with for the last 5-6 years. So when someone like a Mike Hesson comes in, he comes with that reputation of, doing things a certain way, of setting up processes, of coming up with a system that helps, sort of marry consistency with results. But Pakistan, yeah, it's a very interesting mix. So that's something I'm really looking forward to, how that whole combination plays out for them.
Yeah, they play all their group games in Dubai, so they don't have to move that much. Shashwat saying, I've not seen anything in Sam in T20s, especially how highly rated he is in Park. I don't know why they compare him to Abhishek. He's literally a strike rate of 130, lesser than that even Gill. I think 1 or 2 glimpses, 1 or 2 cameos is really excited that lot in terms of Sam Ayub. But the fact that he can bowl a few overs of spin as well makes him a little bit of a 3D cricketer. But again, the comparisons with him and Abhishek right now are bereft, I feel. We took this one and we will answer any of your questions. In case we've missed any, and I think we missed a few about Hong Kong, Oman, we'll answer them in the 12th man comments section as well, I should say. Talk about their spin attack. Is it strong? I mean, again, you look at their bowling options, right? So they've got Abrar Ahmad, the guy who did that shit to send Gill off when he got him out the last time these two teams met. Then they have Sufyan Mukim, who's pretty much the unknown quantity to them. And they've also gone back to Mohammad Nawaz, who did have a decent Tri-Series. So those will be doing the spin. You look at Kushtil, he can roll over his arm, bowl a few spin overs, well, over the spin. Salman Ali Agha themselves himself as well. So next, the question is the surfaces. Are we going to see 160, 170 sort of surfaces? Because that'll bring Pakistan into the game, because I don't think they're a 180, 200 sort of team.
And that is something we'll have to see, because you expect a lot of heat during the day, which is why the timings were shifted. So, do we see dew? If you see dew, then the ball will come onto the bat better. But if it doesn't, and if it slows down, then I think it will be a contest to watch out for, like we saw in the Tri Series as well. Nawaz found a way to take wickets, and if you look at those wickets also, he had one ball pitching. Russell probably got the toughest of balls, pitching almost leg or outside leg, as per the comment, and then going on to hit. Then he had Omar that caught on the cut. So these are proper. He had Ibrahim Zadaran stumped on the lunge. So it tells you there was help, and he made the most of it. So we don't know if he'll get the help, but if he does, then I think every team will feel a lot more confident of their resources, because most of the subcontinental teams will have a lot of spin bowling options. Like we just discussed a while back, you have Oman as well, who have decent options. You have every team, UAE as well, has good options to exploit such conditions. So it's an unknown. I don't think I have a clear answer in the kind of pitches that we will get. It may not be those 200 kind of decks, but it could still be 160, 170 with some help for spin, because that is what you usually expect, especially while bowling first. Bowling second, we'll have to wait and see how it pans out.
That I realized the last time India Pakistan played in Asia Cup T20, they actually chased down 182 against India that day. So they can actually pull a rabbit out of the bag. And like Akshay said at the top of the show, they're very mercurial. You never know what you're going to get with Pakistan. My question to y'all, before we just finish off this Pakistan preview and move on to Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, is that September 14th clash, maybe the September 21st clash, and maybe even the September 28th clash, right? The fact that it could be India, Pakistan, and India, Pakistan. Akshay, this time, do India start favorites like they've never started before? Because I feel this is not a good Pakistan side, let's be fair. And this is a very, very good Indian side. So how do you look at that India-Pakistan clash on Super Sunday?
I do believe that the gulf between India and the rest of the sides in the tournament has only widened in the last few years, chiefly because, and I don't think it has anything to do with the other sides. It has more to do with the kind of selections that we've seen in the last couple of years when it comes to the Indian T20 setup. For the longest time, we stuck to our legacy names, our big names, the ones who came with, reputation. And which is why we always felt that, despite having the talent, we weren't actually giving them enough opportunities. That's no longer the case. If you've seen what Gautam Gambhir has done, and that's where credit where it's due, especially with the T20 side, you've seen the IPL play a much bigger role, and importantly so. So some of the names you see, be it, say, Abhishek Sharma with the bat, or Varun Chakravarti, and then you see the kind of all-rounders in the mix, including the likes of, to some extent, even say Washington Sundar. So I would say that given these performances and the kind of young blood that he's managed to bring in, I would say that the gap has only widened between these two. So India are definitely start favorites for me, but that does not mean that Pakistan aren't good enough. Like I said earlier as well, with the kind of names they will definitely stand a chance. But India are start favorites for sure.
Before I go to Knicks, Akshay, a quick one from me. 2025 Asia Cup, there's a lot more spotlight on this game than maybe in the past. Okay, I know when they played post-Kargil, people are obviously having their emotions at an all-time high, but it's even more so now in our generation, in this day and age of social media. How do you think the players will go about it? Because I don't think they can afford to have a little tongue-in-joke or smile at each other, even though we should separate sport and politics and all of that. I think there will be a lot more microscoping going on both sides. How do you think it's going to pan out with that larger looming cloud over their heads?
I think I do agree with you. The players are going to definitely, err on the side of caution. They'll tread very carefully. I don't think we'll even see that odd handshake or something like that, because things between the two governments in particular are at, like, the relationship has definitely soured, and we know what happened just 3 months ago. So it's definitely not helped, firstly. And secondly, there's already the whole narrative around how India shouldn't be playing and shouldn't be doing this and all of it. So on top of that, the players know that anything they do, the slightest of actions will be targeted, will be scanned under a microscope. We saw earlier this year what happened with the likes of Neeraj Chopra, Diljit Dosanjh, despite having done nothing. So in this case, anything, even, like, I won't be surprised even the odd misfield or the odd drop catch or the odd mishit being caught or something like that. And definitely they will come under the scanner, and things might get ugly. So players will definitely, there will be that pressure, but I don't think it's the pressure that's going to affect them, because they know how to handle pressure. But how they carry themselves during the game, that's definitely something they'll probably be a bit more wary about.
Next, over to you then. Now that Gambhir is coach, he said that they didn't want to play Pakistan. It's out of his hands, because obviously the government has intervened, saying that they'll play each other in Asia Cup and ICC events. Do you think there'll be a little bit more edge and needle this time on Sunday, September 14th?
I think it'll just be as professional, non-interactionable game that we would have seen, and I do not want it any other way. And I'll just take this time to just request to people on this side of the fence, all people who think they should think fairly, don't go after the players. This is not on them. That's all that I want to say. It's not in the hand of them to do anything. Again, if you feel differently, please feel so. No problems there. But don't look out for mistakes and pounce at them, because I think that's, again, the fact that I even feel like saying this tells you a lot about how at times they just react to things. So I just hope it is as professional as it can get, and you are done with that game. Nothing much to look ahead to. And as Akshay said, I trust the players and even the coaching staff. They've been there, and they have done that. But that's all I'll expect from them. That stay professional, be done with the game, and it is stupid to just say that just win and be done with it. Khatam.
Okay, just to conclude this India-Pakistan chat, one matchup from both of you all, really quickly, that you're looking forward to see on Sunday. It could be anyone. It could be Shubman versus Shaheen. It could be Varun versus, I don't know, Fakhar Zaman. Akshay, you start.
That's actually interesting. Who do I look at? Shaheen versus Sky is definitely one I'd be looking forward to early on. Should there be an early dismissal and Sky walks in? And I would actually say Sky against, sorry, not Sky, Shaheen against Gill, Sky, Samson, three of them, whoever faces the new ball. I'm going to see how they go about it, and importantly, what plans do Shaheen and the Pakistani side have for them? How are they going to play that? So that's definitely a matchup I'd be looking forward to. And left arm spinners, who are Pakistan's options? I'm trying to think.
Nawaz.
तो नवाज
Sufyan
वर्सेस स्काई.
Nawaz.
मुकीम तो खैर छोड़ो, मतलब पता नहीं क्या होगा. Nawaz versus then Sky is also definitely another matchup I'd be looking at for sure, for obvious reasons.
Next.
Abhishek Sharma versus Abrar Ahmed. Cannot wait to see how that pans out. Could go either ways. I have no problem with going anywhere, but it is something that I'm looking forward to. And obviously, it's been a while since I saw Jassi play. So there is no matchup. I just want to say Boomerang play.
Just one thing to add, Abrar versus Abhishek. Just like we just spoke about how we don't want either teams to interact with each other and everything. And here are two players who, at the slightest of needling, they don't need anything. They don't need anything, and I know they will be.
There is a reason why I said. There is a reason why I called. Like, these are the two guys I want to see how they go about it.
It's Indian Punjab versus Pakistani Punjab, bas aur kuch.
100%. I mean, there are a lot of people having their say in the chat. Shashwat saying Abhishek versus Shaheen. If Pakistan don't get a wicket of Abhishek early in the match over inside the power play itself. Hassan Nawaz and Sam Ayub are the ones who can decide the fate of this match for Pakistan, saying Crick Nerd. If India loses Asia Cup, then what happens? I mean, life moves on. What happens, Saeed? I mean, there's no real massive ramification.
Sorry. No. Saeed bhai. India lost 3-0 at home to New Zealand. Good. There is plenty to life. Nothing can beat that.
There is
So
plenty
it's
to
okay.
life, and there's still plenty of T20s India need to play before the World Cup as well.
Yeah.
So it might just give them a little reality check because they're hosting the World Cup next year. So this is a big
Fair.
tournament from that lens, but still, Sufyan and Abhishek had a fight during the Emerging Asia Cup. Yeah, I mean, let's see if that can come to fruition in the main scheme of things on Sunday or the following
Emerged
Sunday as
Asia Cup,
well.
that is.
Emerging Asia Cup. Can't imagine Gigi having a fight during a post-match handshakes, just like what happened with Virat in the IPL. And Shashwat saying, I feel that even if India get pressured and choke at some point during the match, they can still recover and win the match just in the sheer quality. I feel, again, the decider of this match will be Hardik Pandya, or should I say Hardik Eminem Pandya,
Yeah.
because of his new colored hair. And the last time as well, he has good Asia Cup memories against Pakistan, good Asia Cup memories in general. So I think Hardik will be a massive cog in the wheel for India's success in this tournament, let alone against Pakistan. Right, almost under an hour at MNL. If you guys are enjoying our content, please smash a like and tell a friend about cricket.com, because you never know if we're here for much longer, are we? Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, then Akshay, and this is the Nagin Derby. These are one of the fixtures that I would love to always see in an Asia Cup, and they've been giving us some good tournament history in the past. Imagine the one that we saw in 2022, and if we can see it again, I think Kusal Mendes anchored them to a 2-wicket win, I think, in that competition. So, look, lots of things to pick the bones about with both these teams. We'll start with Bangladesh, and I feel, I don't know, I think they can actually make it out of that group. Even though I said Afghanistan, Sri Lanka, I think Bangladesh can really do well. And there's no Shakib and there's no left arm spin, unbelievably. The fact that Bangladesh always boasts of a left arm spinner, they think they have 1 out of 5, something like that. How do you kind of view them? Do you think they will kind of beat Sri Lanka, or will it just be maybe one win and then they go out in the group stage itself?
I am excited to see them, to be honest. Like some of the names over there, especially in the recent past, of course, Tahir Hridoy goes without saying. There's Jakir Ali now, who I'm excited to watch. Liton Das, the captain himself. They have the makings of a decent T20 setup, especially when you add the kind of bowling prowess they have. You've got Mustafizur Rahman, you've got Tanzim Hassan Saqib, you've got Taskin Ahmad, you've got Rashad Hussain. So all in all, in terms of names, in terms of match winners, I think there's a lot of potential there. So if any one of them, sort of kicks on and goes on to have a decent game, they can win that. So between Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, I wouldn't mind going as far as to say Bangladesh, for me personally, definitely have a lot more names, a lot more match winners, so to say. And I don't think I've ever felt this way about a Bangladeshi side in a very long time. So excited to see that. Someone like a Nasoom Ahmed, that I thought was a bit of an interesting choice in this format, because you mentioned that there aren't any left arm spinners. Nasoom Ahmed is one, but he is very traditional in the way he goes about his business, very flighty, loopy, that kind of left arm off spinner. So excited to see how he does over here too, of course, for Bangladesh. But all in all, when I look at it, Saifuddin, I don't know, I haven't seen Bangladesh's recent games, but very happy to see Saifuddin's name. Yaar, he was actually a name I was really looking forward to after the 2019 World Cup. And uske baad, we all know how he just sort of tapered, during COVID. Now to see him come back, that's interesting. Very, again, happy to see such names come back. So I don't know if he's a part of their first 11. Like, are they looking at him as a serious starter, or he's just part of the squad to blend balance? Wo nahi pata. But yeah, all in all, bowling, batting, especially the bowling, Mustafizur, Tanzid Hassan Saqib, again, another name I really enjoyed watching in the last Asia Cup as well. And then Taskin Ahmad, we all know how lethal he can be on his day. Rashad Hussain himself started really well in the T20 World Cup, landed a BPL gig, didn't do too badly in the last BPL as well. So all in all, I think that bowling is really sort of, punching above their weight. And now you've got a couple of batters in, Tawhid Hridoy, Liton Das, to some extent Jakir Ali. So yeah, all in all, I am liking the look of this Bangladeshi setup.
Yeah, I agree with you. Nuts and bolts of that Bangladesh team is good. Whether they become a great time will tell. And like we spoke about Pakistan next, and how they don't have Babar, Rizwan, or Naseem, Bangladesh have moved on from Shakib, Mehmudullah, and Mushfiqur, and they are experiencing a twilight phase with Mustafizur as well. So I feel having considered all things, Bangladesh, I think, can spring a few surprises. But like Akshay said, it's about their batting, because their bowling, I think, will do the heavy lifting in this competition, given the surfaces, given some of their bowlers, the fiery pace battery that Akshay mentioned over there as well. So it excites me, but doesn't give me conviction that they can win the competition. I think their ceiling in this should be the Super Four. And I apologize to people watching in Dhaka, Chittagong, and Mirpur at this point in time, but this is my subjective view. Next, what do you think? The Tigers, can they roar?
I think they would, but I think Sri Lanka, if I'm to compare, then I think I would pick Sri Lanka because I feel Bangladesh's batting is very high variance. They are coming off a very good time, so of course, credit to them. I think they have done tremendously well in terms of finding a way to be able to power hit a lot. You see that in the kind of, if people can go back to the names that I've mentioned from past in the Bangladesh, Zakir Ali is someone that I've kept saying, "Okay, watch out for this guy, watch out for this guy." Apart from Hridoy, Zakir Ali has been the guy who's come through the ranks, and you really feel very happy that you are seeing such people come good. He did well even in the recent times that he played, was top scorer, if I'm not wrong, in quite a few games as well. So it just tells you they aren't as dependent on those names in this format. Akshay mentioned about a couple of names right up top, and both those openers have had their good time in the middle, which means they have enough. Now, can they just come together as a battle unit? Because I think, like I feel with Afghanistan, with Bangladesh, I am always confident of their bowling. Their bowling will do the job, or if not do the job, keep them to a pass score. But can the batting really just step up and have a couple of guys who can be consistent? Then I think it's a good. I think Das Dada had a good time in the last series that he played, but can he emulate that? Consistency is the word that I'm looking forward to from Bangladesh. If they can do that, then I think they'll be good. Otherwise, might be the same old story. Hopefully not.
Yeah, I'm looking at their recent results, and I feel like, sure, people will say they beat Pakistan at home. And again, it comes down to their bowlers. They played Netherlands right now, leading up to this Asia Cup. And a lot, again, to do their bowlers. And their batters, of course, had a few good efforts. Again, Litton and the usual candidates getting runs for them. Sandeep saying they defeated Afghanistan and Pakistan recently. Shashwat asking us, try making a Bangladesh 11 very tough to make. I mean, look at their 11 the last time they fielded in a T20 international game against Netherlands, like I said, which was what, 5 days ago. And it was Saif Hassan, Litan Das, Tod Ridoy, Shamim Hussain, Jakar Ali, Nurul Hassan, Saifuddin, Akshay just mentioned him, Shariful Islam, Rishad Hussain, Nasim Ahmed, and Tanzim. So whether that was just to kind of, again, give more miles in the legs for certain players in the build-up to the Asia Cup, only time will tell. But they have options, which you can't normally say that about Bangladesh in the past. But now, obviously, with the BPL and a lot more talents coming up from that part of the world, it's made them a stronger contender in the Asia Cup. Finally, then Sri Lanka to preview, to wrap up the 8 teams of this year's Asia Cup. And I genuinely am excited for Sri Lanka. What Jayasuriya and Asalanka have been doing as captain, coach, have been phenomenal. I think they've been pretty much like a Jose Mourinho in the cricket world, beating people at home, but doing it their way, different ways to skin a cat, Akshay. And we've seen it with Asalanka, the 2 Mendises over there. We see it with Tiksana and Patiralan. Again, great nuts and bolts like we spoke about other teams. And here's the squad for more clarification. And all household names now. We know them through franchise cricket, the IPL cricket. And Asalanka, of course, did get that win against Zimbabwe, the whitewash that they wanted. But it was quite horrendous how they got bundled out in that one game. And I'm looking forward to Kamindu Mendes. I'm looking forward to Velagade, because this is the next batch of Sri Lankan cricketers who can take the torch forward. Which name gives you the most conviction here? Because I know you went to Sri Lanka. You've kind of been sympathetic to their people. There'll be lots watching. But again, the question is, can they prove themselves to be the second best in Asia? Because historically in this competition, they are the second best, 6 titles and all of that.
I mean, they're the defending champions, so technically they are the best. They need to be beaten. But once again, when it comes to that bowling, lots to be excited about in terms of the names, because they've got a lot of experienced options, and that's not something a lot of other sides can say. Hasranga, Tikshana, Dushmanta Chamira, then you add the likes of Dunit Vilalge, who probably might not have experience, but we've already seen enough of him to know, okay, boss, this guy's here to stay. And then along with that, there's Benura Fernando, there's who else am I missing when it comes to bowling? If you want to add the all-rounders in Chamika Karunaratne, in Dasun Chanaka. So plenty of names, plenty of experience. Nuwan Tushara, that X factor with the sling and the pace and that movement. So that way, nice variety with the bowlers. You know, they've got a decent mix of all phase bowlers. You've got mystery spinners, you've got wrist spinners, you've got slow left arm off spinners. And I'm thinking, are there any right arm off spinners? Charit Aslanka does bowl medium pace, right? Or does he bowl off spin?
Yeah, off spin.
Off here, chalo. Then you've got that covered as well in case if you ever think you need a matchup option. But the thing with all of these names are they are known names in some sense, sure, but they aren't the kind of names like that's what I don't know how do I look at this, because I sort of burnt my hands previously trying to sort of look at known names of Sri Lanka and think, yeah, you know what, this is a side that will be very good. But given how sort of glowing I was of Bangladesh, then that way I'll also have to concede and agree with Nikhil Bhai. If that Bangladesh bowling attack is good despite its batting, then this Sri Lankan squad definitely would rank better because their batters as well. You've got Nisanka, you've got Aslanka, you've got, like I said, the all-rounders in Karunaratne, in Dunit Velalge, in Dasun Chanaka. So you've got plenty of batters as well. And a lot of them, like Nisanka is someone, like I mentioned last week too, a name I'm really looking forward to because he is the quintessential ODI batter. He's yet to crack the T20 format, but he's definitely a name a lot of Sri Lankans rate very highly. In fact, I remember even last year when I was there, everyone had only one name, on their tongues because that's a name they all love watching. And he's also shown glimpses of what he can do in the longer formats. Not so much this format, but you've still seen, the odd knock here or there. So definitely lots to be excited about. But between Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, I still believe Bangladesh's bowling has more X factor, has more of that wicket taking ability, has more of that aggression as opposed to Sri Lanka because Hasranga, Tikshna, I don't know how will they fare over here. Dunit Velalke, I don't know how are they going to use him. Sure, Jaisuriya and Aslanka, that combination has really worked wonders for them at home. But this is an ACC event, if not an ICC event that we're talking about. So it won't be easy for sure. And I'm excited to see how they fare.
Will Jaisuriya just be like, guys, the last time we played Asia Cup T20 format, it was in UAE, we won it. Can we take some sort of learnings from that? It was Darshan Shanaka's team which went on to lift the title, and it was one of the favorite memories of the competition, even from a neutral fan point, because you look at that team and it's kind of different. They had Gunatilaka, they had DDS in that T20 scheme of things. At that point in time, they had Rajpaksa, who's not featuring in this squad. So lots have changed since then. There's some familiar faces, but again, only time will tell how they do next. What is your gut feel with Sri Lanka? Because they've given us decent evidence against Zimbabwe, even though that was some sort of test from them away from home. Is it too many? Is it too much of a dependence, should I say, on someone like Kusal Mendes and Pathan Nisanka at the top of the order? Or do you think there'll be more heroes for them to emerge from this tournament?
Yeah, I think there will be new heroes, but I also agree to the fact that there is a bit more dependency on somebody like an Asalanka in terms of to ensure whatever happens up top, he takes care. So I think that's a place where he will want some more contributions from, say, a Kusal Paira or a Pathum Nisanka, because if they do well, then I genuinely feel that Sri Lanka have a very, very good chance because I, for one, always have enjoyed them as a bowling unit because they have plenty. You look at that game against Zimbabwe where they did 10 of the last one, and Dilshan Madhushankar just comes up with a hat trick. It doesn't happen just like that. And we've seen them come out of tough situations in the recent times a lot under this captaincy of Charit Asalanka. And so that's why I feel Sri Lanka in that place, they want a bit more batting, but I think their bowling can cover up for those batting frailties. But it's the all-rounders who will eventually have to come good. And of course, there is Kamindu Mendes. There is enough talent in that group to just ensure there is no 80 all out. Because I think that is something that they will be very wary of. It has just happened in terms of, and you look at some of those dismissals as well, short ball, spin of Sikandar Raza and stuff. So it can happen to any team, but I just hope Sri Lanka can be the confident self, and I think they will be fine. Because even Kapil Mishra, if I'm getting this name right, he had a couple of good knocks in the recent try series as well, in the recent series, sorry. So I think they'll be good, they'll be fine. If I want to rank them, I'll put them as a second favorite for me. I want Afghanistan to win, but I will not be surprised if Sri Lanka take the game.
Okay, interesting. Ben coming into the chat saying, is Jayasuriya still the coach? Haven't been following Sri Lanka cricket. He's still the coach, and he's cooking up something really nice with this team because, again, Charita Sri Lanka as captain can probably kind of take a few pages of Jayasuriya, the captain back in the day, and see if he can kind of bring it to the party here. Has a lot of three-dimensional cricketers in his setup, and it's a good squad to choose from. They all know their roles. It's clear-cut for them. And again, I'm just thinking certain players have worldy tournaments. Sri Lanka can be in the final. I'm not even joking. Kamindu Menis is a gun cricketer. And Petam Nisanka, let me get his name right before I absolutely smudge it, is a fantastic batter across formats. And I'm looking forward to how Sri Lanka actually cope. Can they actually prove that the 2022 Asia Cup win was not a fluke in the same venue? That'll be brilliant to see. Shashwat saying Kamindu Menis is easily the MVP. Sri Lanka's batting is much better. He also says that. And he also saying, why is Shanaka still playing except that Asia Cup 2022? Don't remember any other performance. I mean, that one innings gave him a long rope against Australia at home where he absolutely carted everyone in Pallekele, I think it was, where people just made him think that he's going to be whatever the next Angelo Matthews types. Do you think Patirana and Tushara will play? Actually, it's a good question from Shashwat because both similar, both like 3 o'clock bowlers, if you want to call it that way. Do you think both CSK and RCB will be happy in this regard?
Both similar, but I guess that's where the similarity ends. The way Tushara would be used would definitely be different from Patirana. Patirana is more of a middle-end death bowler, while Tushara is more of your power play bowler. He is known for his ability to move the new ball. So yeah, that's why I wouldn't be surprised if they both play, because they both operate in different phases of the game, and they'll give them that phase coverage that they would be looking for. I don't know to what extent, would they be backing the experience of Chamira over there, and of course it also depends on the surfaces, because they've got Chamika Karunaratne, they've got Dasun Shanaka as well. So to some extent, if they want that third pacer, someone who can bowl in the middle, they already have that. So these two pacers, plus of course you've got Tikshna, Vellalge and Hasranga. So I think that would round off a fairly decent bowling lineup for me.
Okay, Sri Lanka, of course, are in that group B, the group of death. And if they come out trumps, it'll bode well in the Super Fours, because I really want to see some good crunch competitive cricket in the shortest format, and it'll be a good advertisement for the Asia Cup as well. Right, plenty of things are still to discuss in this Monday Night Live, including our all-time Asia Cup T2011 in just a bit. But before we finish up the Asia Cup chat fully, it's only fair to ask the boys their predictions, the finalists, and a player to watch. It could be anyone. It could be Allah Ghazanfar, it could be Taur Ridha, it could be Abhishek Sharma. The floor is yours. So Akshay, I'll start with you. The finalists, your winner, and your player to watch.
Let's winner, player to watch. Interesting. India, Afghanistan, and player to watch. What is okay? Let us think. Who are there? I did mention a few names, right? Let's think. Who would I pick? Okay. All right. Let's go to Oman Tushar. I mean, because that's the last name I spoke about. That's the name that just stuck in my head. I can't think. I'm blanking out. I'll go with Tushara.
Okay, super. So India, Afghanistan, and Nuwan Tushara for Akshay. Nix, over to you.
India, Sri Lanka, no Siraj, but still India. And I hope we see the best of Abhishek Sharma. So hopefully he can do that.
Okay, I would actually side with Nix here. I would go India, Sri Lanka, India, and Kamindu Mendes to have an absolute tournament to remember. He'll do something remarkable, maybe a couple of man of the matches, hopefully something like that. And I'm also hoping for some good games between Afghanistan, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, let alone India, Pakistan, if that kind of turns up. Sandeep saying India, Pakistan, Varun is his MVP or his X factor of the tournament. Shashwat saying India, Pakistan final, India to win it. Player to watch, Mohammad Nawaz. Interesting. Ashutosh joining us in chat saying it's funny all of a sudden everyone forgets Sri Lanka defeating India and Australia in the last 12 months. We don't forget it. We mentioned it in a part of our Sri Lanka preview as well. And Ben saying India-Bangladesh final. That'll be absolutely brilliant. At least people in Dhaka will be spamming social media if that's the case. But it'll be interesting. Imagine if it's an Afghanistan-Sri Lanka final. It's literally what Akshay said, meaning what Nikhil said. So that'll be brilliant as well. If you guys have just joined the program, we've spoken about the Asia Cup, literally 1 hour of Asia Cup mega preview content. Go check it out. We'll probably clip it out into bits. We've spoken about India, Pakistan, and that September 14th fixture as well. But right now, we will move on to the next segment of Monday Night Live. And it's a new one, which we've been introducing the last couple of weeks. And it's called Who Makes the 11? Now, first of all, you guys can let us know your 11s in terms of Team India's 11s. I know we haven't really done a dive deep session with India. Who will be their top 4? Will Sanju play? Will Jitesh play? Those questions we can maybe answer in the 12th man segment if we have time. But right now, I just wanted to ask the boys randomly. We won't kind of spend too much time here. But all-time Asia Cup T20 11. You can add in names like Jayasuriya, Shakib, Shahid Afridi, Umar Gul, whoever you guys want. But we can use our fine minds, 3 of us, to cook up 11 for our viewers. So, Akshay, again, first ball with you. I'll give you the chance to go for the openers. Does Rohit feature? Rohit Sharma?
I mean, I can't think of any performance of note Asia Cup mein, but I'll stick to. I think Shikhar Dhawan would be a safe bet because he played a lot of Asia Cups in that phase and he was pretty prolific then. So let's go with Shikhar Dhawan.
Okay, Shikhar Dhawan. Does he even feature in the top 10 run getters of Asia Cup T20 history? He doesn't actually, to be fair. I was just looking.
It will not happen, no, because T20 history is very limited.
No, wait. You have the list up and
Dhawan actually just 4 games.
Achha. Okay, in that case,
Dhawan's played 4 games.
Share the links over here so that we can also open the links. नहीं तो हम दिमाग से बना रहे हैं आप देख के बना रहे हो तो who else is there? I'm trying
the link over here.
Perfect.
Thank you.
There we go.
Okay, so I mean, essentially, there's Rizwan, there's Rohit. Who else are we thinking of? Pathum Nisanka comes to mind. KL, if you want to throw him there as an opener. Dilshan. He played
let's
4
go
games also.
Rohit is a safe bet.
I think Rohit's a safe bet. I mean, would you throw in a Rizwan in there, Nix, or no? Would you still have anyone else?
Virat and Rohit opening. No
yeah,
problems.
I think Virat and Rohit is a safe opening combo there. So let's start with Rohit and Virat. 1 down. Are we throwing in a Sankara, Jayawardene, anyone of that era coming to mind?
Have they even played?
No, no, obviously not.
2016 में start हुआ ना, that's why they haven't played.
Yeah.
Sky, I want to pick Sky, but I don't know sample size छोटा होगा.
My bad. So then
Let us stick to current play people.
Would you throw in a Babar Azam?
Not Babar. There's a bit of a lag, but we'll go. I think Sky is the best bet over here of all the names.
No problems.
Sky, all right. 4, 5, 6.
4, 5, 6.
Baruka Rajpaksa for me.
Wow. I did not see that name coming.
Because you guys mentioned all India top 3 and all right-handed top 3. So I was just thinking, Rajpaksa maybe fits the bill.
There is no Somesh to fight with us at this point of time. So we can name 6 righties right now and it won't matter. But actually, I would throw 2 names. Again, I'm more making 11 that is likely to play. I would put Rizwan at 4 and Asalanka at 5.
Asalanka
Okay,
at 5.
interesting.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sports fan asking what 11 are we making? We're making an all-time Asia Cup T20 11. Players who played the Asia Cup T20 format and based on their stats and evidence and glorious moments of the competition. So we've gone for Rohit, Kohli, Sky. And what did Nick say right now?
Rizwan at
Put
4.
Rizwan at
Asalanka.
4, Asalanka at 5.
Okay. Yeah,
That's
fair.
a decent shot.
Would you throw in Shakib at 6 then?
Nah, not Shakib.
Hardik at 6. Straightforward. Right.
I wanted to say Hardik,
Okay.
but it's just too many Indians at this point. Just trying to think, are there any other names?
इसके बाद और एक ही इंडियन आएगा. तो I think we can be fine.
But भाई bowling में highest wicket taker भुवी है, भुवनेश्वर कुमार.
हाँ तो
I mean,
भूवी
it'll be
आएगा,
pretty
बुमराह नहीं
crazy.
आएगा. It's okay.
Imagine if we throw in Shanaka or Iftikhar Ahmed at 6 and 7.
Nah.
If the
I would throw Hasaranga if I would want to put it that way. I would throw in Hasaranga.
Hasanka
Okay, look, I mean,
numbers.
Shashwat's look at Shashwat's 11 here, Akshay, because he's the road captain, Zadran, Kohli, Rajpaksa, Sarfraz, wicketkeeper, Shakib, Hardik, Shanaka, Hasaranga, Rashid Bhuvi. I mean, sure, good names, but I still feel
Yes,
like the way we're
Sarfraz.
going to the team, yeah, it's heavy.
Yeah, I would pick Rizwan over
Heavy.
Sarfaraz.
Yeah, exactly same. And number 6, I would pick Hardik. Number 7, I would go with Hasaranga. 8, 9,
Yeah.
10, 11, I would have Rashid for sure at 8.
Of course.
And 9, 10, 11, who do you pick? एक शाहीन शाह अफरीदी एक रख ही लो. और कौन हो सकता है?
Bumrah.
बुमराह sure.
Arshdeep.
मतलब बुमराह not Arshdeep. Maybe I don't mind Mustafizur as well. One from Bangladesh. एक ऐसा representation. I'm trying to
How
see
many?
where.
I'm just checking if Shaheen Shah has taken enough wickets. Let me just. I don't know if
Shaheen hasn't taken enough wickets. Where is Shaheen? Ruko.
I mean, exactly. Shadab Khan is their highest best.
Shaheen has never
bowler.
played in the Asia Cup. Would you believe it?
T20 format. मैं वही बोल रहा हूँ कि भाई मोहम्मद आमिर खेला is what I remember. Haris Rock played.
Amir was the name I thought up top. Amir को लेना चाहिए. 2016, I remember that spell he bowled to India na in that rain-curtailed game. मस्त किया था. तो मुस्तफिजुर को रख ही सकते हैं.
Yeah.
Where's
So
Mustafizur?
who
I
do you
think we
say
can
is
give
your
Mustafizur. We don't
bowlers?
have to play
Bumrah, Amir.
I would say Bumrah, Mustafizur, and
Yeah. So, okay.
एक और कोई बचा. अच्छा
Bumrah,
तीनों.
Mustafizur, and who?
Amir.
Bhuvi.
Okay, fine. So here's the final one, which is what I penned down there. Tell me if I've got the correct order, okay? In terms of our best 11 Asia Cup T20 edition. Rohit, Kohli, Suryakumar Yadav. 4, we have Mohammad Rizwan. 5, we have Asalanka. 6, we have Hardik Pandya. 7, we have, who was it? Shakib.
7, we had Hasaranga.
Sorry, Hasaranga. 8, Rashid Khan. 9, Mohammad Amir. 10, Mustafizur. And 11, Bumrah.
Yes.
That's a solid 11, to be fair. I mean, we're basing it on Asia Cup stats. We're basing it on the fact how many games they've played, so on and so forth. So there will be players in the past who we've missed, but let me know if we've got a few right, for sure. Naseem had a stellar 2022 Asia Cup, but he's not playing this one, is he? And we're not including Shadab, sports fan.
I'm just trying to confirm, sorry, if Asalanka has played any game in the T20 format. Just let me do that once.
Asalanka.
Imagine taking him in an all-time 11. Please check.
No, Asalanka has played 4 games,
Yeah,
but he averages 2.25 and has a strike rate of 42.
We just picked him for vibes. We just picked him on vibes, honestly.
Future proofing.
Yes.
And he's made the cut. Look, I mean, he's got Jayasuriya and the SLC's board of approval, so he'll get MNL's approval as well. Right, let's move on from one segment to the other because plenty to talk about. We've already kind of hit 1 hour, 20 minutes in this podcast. If you're enjoying it on Spotify or YouTube, give us a like and a shout out. Let's move on to the best of the rest and some crazy news stories to emerge from the world of cricket. including England, South Africa, which we'll talk about right now. Right, best of the rest, and lots of things happening in the world of cricket, including the CPL, which we might speak about in a bit. But England, South Africa hogging all the limelight, and that Sunday ODI in particular at Southampton. If you guys didn't watch it, go check it out. England doing incredible things with the bat, 414, thanks to some incredible hitting. Jacob Bethel, 110 for him, and whether that kind of puts all the Aussie journalists to bed before that Ashes, only time will tell, even though it's a different format. The point being, it was one of the most one-sided ODIs we've ever seen, which we'll, of course, come to in a bit and ask the boys if they've seen anything worse in their lives. But, Akshay, you might have not seen that game live, but I know you're a huge RCB fan. I know you're a huge Bethel fan. Is the JB era starting in front of our eyes right now?
See, acha talent, acha player hai. Baki era and all, I think it's like too premature for that. But happy to see some of those shots. Once again, we know, and I guess we've spoken about this time and time again, right? Like with each knock, it's only confirming our sort of, our expectations and our idea of what we thought, our prediction as well, like Nikhil Bhai said, of what we expected from him. So happy to see that come true. But yeah, I mean, he is definitely a precocious talent and one to watch out for. Just, I don't think I have anything more to add. Just great shots, great player. RCB just don't let go of him too soon.
Yeah, he's given us a few gems in terms of his little England career, or whether it's that test that he played in New Zealand. He had a good game against West Indies at home as well at Edgbaston, and now this one being the latest. Next, what was the most pleasing things from this game? Forget Jacob Bethel and all the England heroics with the bat. Anything else you observed apart from the stats?
No, it's just that once South Africa win the first two games, they just get up and they just leave. That's the only stupid thing from that game, because you saw that happen in Australia as well, where they concede crazy amount of runs and they just don't turn up with their bat, which is something I hope South Africa can look back at. Also, Temba Bowman's fitness, I think they'll really have to pull the plug sometime soon, because you cannot have a captain missing so many games, given when there is a question about him in terms of how much he contributes and all of that. So I think that is something they should be very, very keen upon. If they are sure that he'll play the 27 World Cup, because they've shifted Makram up. You could play just Makram at the 3. Miller is outside. He can come into the team. Charles Brevis, it just makes a very good lineup for them to have. So I think that is something I hope they can really sort out very soon.
Yeah, I think the head coach of South Africa, Shukri Conrad, spoke about it in a press conference after that loss. And they were like, even though we won the series against Australia and England, the last game really was an embarrassment, quote unquote, from his perspective. Freaking awesome, saying many records have been broken in that third game. Second lowest ODI total of South Africa, biggest margin of wins in ODI. South Africa's lowest ODI total in England, and 414 is the highest ODI total at Southampton. And for the first time, the top side have been bowled out below 100 at Southampton in ODIs indeed. And Sandeep saying Brevis over Bethel. We know where he's going to be, of course, be in next year's IPL. Nobody would remember South Africa on both series. Only their one-sided drubbing makes the headlines. And South Africa might not even qualify for semi-final in 27. They have to save their best for the Cricket World Cup 2027. I mean, look, what we've understood in their last 6 ODIs is that their team has come to proper sort of brick and cement and mortar coming together. Like, it's now the wall has been made. I think this is what they'll go with as well in the next couple of years, at least in this format. But it just makes you think how some players could end their careers in that World Cup because it's at home. Someone like a Maharaj, someone like a Bavuma, they've of course given a lot to South African cricket over years. So let's see how that goes. But our main chat with regards to England, South Africa today is the fact that it was an absolute drubbing. The fact that it goes into the history books in ODI cricket for the biggest ever win. Because even if I was looking ahead today in terms of the largest victories in ODIs ever, Akshay, by runs, it's this one, 7 September 2025, 342 runs, bro. That's unbelievable. India had that record before yesterday when they dismantled Sri Lanka in, where was it? Thiruvananthapuram, and they won by 317 runs. My question to you is simple, and the viewers: which is that one ODI you guys think you've seen in your lifetime which has been the most one-sided? It could be anything. Surprise me.
2003 final? No.
Didn't watch it, thankfully. Didn't watch it.
No, don't want to mention it.
Thanks to Sehwag 75, it was not that one-sided. Otherwise, I agree with Nick. I mean, they absolutely pull up.
Yeah. See, the one game that absolutely stands out for me is India Sri Lanka 2nd November World Cup game. They just nobody turned up. I mean, 300 or 350 out to chase and 55 allowed. I remember I had gone to the salon. But by the time I reached, they were half down, and I could not even get the haircut. And I had to come back to do the live for cricket.com. It is one of those crazy memories. I was running on the road like a stupid guy. You can't even bat 20 hours for me to get a haircut done. So I think that is the one game that I remember for just having no second innings almost.
I think a left field choice would be Australia Netherlands 2023 World Cup. I was trying to remember the scores. Yeah, I just saw that 399 versus 90. So that was also like, I remember because I had a lot of expectations from Netherlands in that game. And I was like, Scott Edwards, come on, thoda Melbourne power dikhao Australia walon ko. None of that happened. Australia, Glenn Maxwell there also did really well. I remember came up with an excellent knock. But yeah, that's a game I'll mention.
That till today, I think that's the fastest ever ODI World Cup done. Ever. I don't think the players ever scored a fastest ever ODI ton. I mean, 44 balls. I mean, just double check that for me, because like you said, that day in Delhi, we were covering the World Cup. I think we were on tour watching that game somewhere. And I remember, even though Maxwell destroyed them, Zampa spun a web. He ended up, now I'm seeing the scorecard, it's like 8 runs and he's taken 4 wickets in 3 overs or whatever. So he absolutely kind of just was all over them like a rash. So that's a good shout in terms of the most one-sided ODI ever. Knicks had that one at the Wankhede, India, Sri Lanka, where again, Sri Lanka were blown away by India. The one that I have also has Sri Lanka involved, guys. And this goes back about 24 years ago.
I think I know the game.
With Sri Lanka, Zimbabwe. And it was part of a tri-series. No, Zimbabwe, Sri Lanka, West Indies, they played a tri-series in Sri Lanka. This is the first match of the tri-series. Zimbabwe all out for 38. It was a day where Chaminda Vas was literally the best bowler in the world. He got 8 for 19. And then in reply, Jayasuriya and Adabaru finished it off in like 4.2 overs or something like that. So the game got done and dusted within 3 o'clock, which is bizarre because, like, you know how Sri Lanka, the vibe there, they come out afternoon with all the drinks and the drums and nothing happens. So I think that's one which stands the test of the time. Even if you open any cricket website and check out all these stats, you'll look at some of the games like we've just mentioned. Akshay mentioned the Australia-Netherlands one. India-Sri Lanka come to mind. There's the Australia-South Africa one in Mackay that Nick spoke about. The fact that they won that series, but they lost that game by 276 runs is also a massive, massive defeat.
There's the Champions Trophy final 2017.
Champions Trophy final. The 2017. Yeah, that's a good shout.
Pakistan
got what? 38 on the day, and then India were in response.
Yeah.
150.
But then the game was almost nearly done. I mean, again, it's the same to what Sehwag did. That you had Hardik giving you hope, but
I think it's probably one of the most one-sided finals because Pakistan won that game by 180 runs. So I think in terms of ODI finals, it's a very good shout. But you guys can let me know as well. How can you guys forget the Sri Lanka Asia Cup final? India, I mean, 50 all out, which is bizarre. Siddharth special. India chased it down.
Mendy special also. Yes, ODI.
That's true. I've not watched but heard a lot about it. Sunny G scored 36 of 170 odd balls. Must be a one-sided game.
Oh, that was.
They were chasing at the time. Yeah, that was.
They were chasing.
How could the match? 36 of 29 overs in a limited overs game. Wow.
Yeah. They were chasing 300, if I'm not wrong, 290, 300, which back then was a massive total. And India ended up with like 135 for 3 at the end of the 60 overs.
That's wild.
Yeah, that was, by the way,
very
India's first World Cup game. Just fun fact.
Yeah, correct. I remember that. That's a good little bit of factoids thrown in there. 2011 World Cup semi-final, saying Santosh Sharma. Sri Lanka won by 10 wickets. I think they hammered New Zealand, wasn't it?
Yep.
Which was pretty remarkable. All ABD versus West Indies matches, saying Sandeep Randhawa, in terms of one-sided affairs. Sri Lanka versus Kenya back in the day in 04-05. Shashwat also saying India versus South Africa.
By that metric, India, Bermuda, 2007.
Exactly.
That's a good one. 257 runs, the margin victory there. India piling on the runs, 414, and then in response, there were nothing. So, look, a lot of ODIs which have gone by, but in terms of runs, this one was the most. I mean, the England-South Africa one, which you just saw, so that'll stand the test of time for sure, even though England fans will remember it for Bethel's 100 and all of that. Let us know in the comments if you guys are watching this show later, if we missed any memorable one-sided affairs in ODI cricket. Santosh also having a last one, saying Australia, Namibia in 2003 World Cup. Yeah, Glenn McGrath was all over them. I think this was at Potchefstroom, and it was incredible, absolutely brilliant from McGrath, 7 for 15 or something like that. But look, hope you guys enjoyed that segment. Let's move on. There's nothing really to address in Best of the Rest, right? I mean, essentially, what we've previewed the Asia Cup, we've spoken about England, South Africa, and I don't want to talk about the CPL because there's very little to choose from. So let's move on to Akshay's quiz, and let's see if he has an Asia Cup quiz or theme to his quiz, Akshay. Right, Akshay, what do we have this week?
Yeah, first let's have last week's graphic out. Where is it? Here it is. Is it displayed? Oh yeah, there we go. So yeah, last week we of course heard of Rahul Dravid, unfortunately, quitting ending his stint with RR, his coaching stint, that is. So the question was around that. While Rahul Dravid has been in the news for quitting as RR's head coach, a lesser known fact about him is that he's one of only 6 Indians to have featured in the Indian Premier League as both player and coach. Of course, only head coaches were considered. Who are the rest? So apart from Rahul Dravid, there are 5 more names that we were expecting, and we wanted to know who these 5 names were. A lot of you, attempted. A lot of you got 4 names right. A lot of you got 1 name wrong. I'll just tell you the names. The correct names, of course, are Anil Kumble, Hemang Badani. There's Sanjay Bangar, and I'm forgetting who the other name is. 1 second, let me just confirm that. Where are the names? Yeah, Ashish Nehra is the other one. And a lot of you, and in fact, all of you mentioned Virendra Sehwag as the 5th name. But unfortunately, Virendra Sehwag was never the head coach of any side. He was only a mentor for Kings 11 Punjab. And he was also the director of cricket or something like that. Was never the head coach. So who is that other name? Avanish, Nikhil, bhai, do either of you want to venture a guess? 6 names. I'll mention the 5 other names. Anil Kumble, Sanjay Bangar, Hemang Badani, Ashish Nehra, and who else? Yeah, Rahul Dravid, of course. Those are the 5 names. There's another name. Only one more Indian has both featured in the Indian Premier League as both player and coach. And I can't believe this is the name everyone's missed, because you all will laugh when you hear the name. It's hilarious. Sandeep Fleming, you might have given him honorary Indian citizenship, but we're talking about Indians here.
Gambhir Lakshman, Zach.
Gambhir, it's Gambhir. It's so no one's spoken about Gambhir.
Someone mentioned Gambhir.
Yeah. So Gambhir is the 6th name, of course. So Kumble, Gambhir, Dravid, Sanjay Bangar, Ashish Nehra, and Hemang Badani are the 6 Indians to have played the Indian Premier League, both as player and captain. So yeah, that was the correct answer. Unfortunately, none of you got it right. This time around, we've got something more in the IPL flavor, since RCB also decided to...
Sorry. 1 second. 1 second.
Okay.
How many games did Badani play in the IPL, and who did he play for?
He played for Chennai Super Kings, but he played 0 games. He was a part of the squad. That's why I said featured as both player.
Oh.
See, so that's a nomenclature हमने सही लगाया. Did not say played.
Fair,
Featured.
fair,
He was a part of the squad in
fair.
2010.
Okay.
Okay. Coming to this week, of course, if it's Virat Kohli and Yuzvendra Chahal in the first category and Prabh Singh and Rajat Bhatia in the second, what are we talking about? It's fairly simple, fairly direct. So no hints given. जो भी hint चाहिए सब वहीं पे है. Once again, I'll display it for all of you folks. If it's Virat Kohli and Yuzvendra Chahal in the first category and Prabh Singh and Rajat Bhatia in the second, what are we talking about? Very simple. You guys, of course, in case you've missed it, you can just rewind and check it out. Like always, please wait for the live stream to end. Do not enter your answers in the live chat. And of course, we'll see who gets it right. Please, in order to be eligible, key in your answers in the main comment section. And let's see who will be the lucky winner this time around.
Is that the most retained North Indians in the history of the IPL?
Nice. Close but no cigar.
Next, do you have any shouts for that? Because I mean, it's a
Abhi mat do, jo bhi shout hai, abhi mat do. Yes.
We
it's a
might
question
stir up.
extracted from the
Yeah.
quiz we attended. Santosh asked.
Is it Christian? Oh, sort of partly yes, Santosh. Good point. Good catch.
And what is it quiz that you attended with Santosh?
I told you, right? This is like before I went to UK, I won. So I'm 3-0 right now. I've taken part in 3 quizzes.
That actually popped up in my memories on my iPhone. There's a picture of you, me, Shubh when we won at that RCB quiz.
RCB,
The bar and champion. So that popped up through. But yeah, I mean, good Howzzaat this week for sure. Daniel Matthew enters chatting T20 format, reduces so many margins, so there'll be upsets. We'll get into that. In case you guys have just joined the show and you have some questions to ask, your time is now, because we move on to the 12th man segment and answer all your questions with regards to the cricket world, whatever that is. 12th man. Sometimes pressing a fucking sting on a broken MacBook is the pits. Third world problems. Anyway, let's talk about what the chat wants to talk about. And I just saw one team combination thrown up from Shashwat, and I don't think we dwelled too much upon it in our India preview when we were talking about the Asia Cup in terms of what 11 they could dish out. Let's get the boys to just quickly, frazzle their minds about this. Based on the reports and according to Shashwat, here's the 11. Abhishek Sharma, Shubman Gill, vice captain, remember. Tilak Varma 1 down, Sky 2 down, Shivam Dubey 3 down, Hardik Pandya at 6, Jitesh 7, Akshar 8, Arshdeep 9, Bumrah 10, Varun 11. So there is no Sanju, there is no Kuldeep in this 11 that Shashwat has named. Does Sanju feature for y'all? And he should feature, because essentially I know Gill comes back and we shouldn't mix formats, but that won't happen. So Akshay, do you agree with this 11? Because even if you want to put Samson in front of Jitesh has proved his salt as a finisher in that position. Samson has batted lower down, all of those things to be considered. But I would love Samson to start because he's done well as a T20 international opener. But Gill will start with Abhishek Sharma because Abhishek Sharma bowls and Tilak Varma averages 50, strike rate of 150. He starts, captain Sky, and then you pick the team from there. So how do we do this? You name me 11 and then let Nick name his 11.
Come to think of it, I feel I've probably got warmed up to the idea of having Tilak at 3 and Jitesh at 6, because initially I was very clear I wanted Sanju in my 11 because as the incumbent, he'd done absolutely no wrong. But now with Gill being shafted in or drafted in, call it how you may, as the vice captain of the side, so he is in all likelihood going to start for them. And if he's starting as Team India's opener and Tilak Varma himself, I personally do like a bit of that left-handedness that he brings in. Apart from the fact that he's a great all-round player. Now, again, space against spin, he's got all the shots in the textbook. So Tilak at 3 and Jitesh at 6-7. Jitesh is also a proven finisher. This IPL, we've already seen what he can do. And he seems to have worked on a lot of those weaknesses which were found out in the 2024 IPL. So I do like the look of it a lot more than I did when the squad was initially announced. So yeah, I agree with this.
Next, what is your 11? Because I think India have a solid 13, including Kuldeep and Samson in the squad. But do you see Dubey as a starter? How is your 5, 6, 7 looking?
I think he'll invariably have to start because India will want batting at 8. There is no doubt about it. But if Shivam starts, then I wouldn't mind having both Kuldeep and Varun. So it will sound very weird, but I think then my 11 will have a pacer less, how they played in the Champions Trophy, playing more spin options then. But again, it will eventually still be dependent on the conditions. If you feel Kate is dry or if it's going to help the pacer, then Kuldeep doesn't play, Varun starts, and Arshdeep is my pacer with Bumrah and Hardik as a third pacer. So I think that's the only debate there. For Sanju, I would ideally want him to play. If it's at 3, then so be it. I think Tilak has enough time to come back into the setup. I don't think that is the case with Sanju. But if it is not the case, then I think they should not be picking Sanju from the upcoming tournaments because I don't think it makes any sense to have him in the squad and just be warming the benches. It helps nobody. It doesn't help Sanju in his T20 career, and nor will it help India if they are looking at him as a Chitesh backup. Then I would rather get in Dhruv Jurel or somebody else into that setup and then give him those game times. So it's a tricky call to make. I don't think you can sit your vice captain out. But at this point of time, Sanju might be the guy who might have to take the cut. So probably similar 11. Eventually, the call to be taken between Sky and Kuldeep, depending on the conditions. Because for what it's worth, I don't know if just having 5 options is good. Because here Abhishek is your 6th option, so it might be tricky. Because remember, Akshar Patel only took 5 wickets in the IPL. It's not that he's been the great form.
The thing with India is that they have a good amount of bowling options, especially with Pandya being the third pacer there. Bumrah and Arshdeep can obviously be great pacers and bowl at different parts of the game. It'll be interesting to see if Harshit Rana gets a gig, because I know we've been joking personally in our WhatsApp chat saying he's not a good batter. It's just an optical illusion and all of that stuff. So questions that India need to answer. Samson, is he a starter? Is he not a starter? And how much will this Asia Cup dictate things in the T20 scheme of things for them before the World Cup? Because if Gill's going to play that World Cup, then I think he will have to play all the games in this Asia Cup and all the other T20 series before the World Cup next year. Let's take a couple more questions and wrap proceedings. Crickner had this one for us. Will Pakistan play Abrar Ahmed because Dubai can be more pace friendly? They've got in Mohammad Wasim, and Mohammad Wasim is again one of those right-arm pacers who can be tricky on sort of stop-start surfaces, Akshay. How do you kind of see them bleed their pace unit and spin unit as well?
See, Dubai definitely would be a bit of a tricky surface, right? Especially, once again, that's where I'll also have to say that the time of the year matters. September is going to be very hot. It's going to be sweltering heat over there, which means the surface dries up a lot more quicker. It'll be a lot more crumbly, flaky. So, which in turn would mean that, before the dew sets in, if you're going to bowl first, your spinners in the middle overs would probably play a bigger role. So, which is why personally I would prefer someone like an Abrar Ahmed over a pacer. But again, even if they're going for a pacer, then I would look at what kind of a pacer. Definitely not an out-and-out fast bowler. If it's someone who's got those variations, who can use a bit of that surface and bring it into the picture, then I would probably still consider Mohammad Wasim as a proper pacer with that sling and the way he goes about his business. So between the two, it would be Abrar for me.
Okay, Abrar. Next, do you agree with that really quickly, Abrar?
Yep. Completely agree.
Okay, let's move on, because there was one about Oman. Harshvardhan Reddy P had asked us, any notable players in Oman? Look, we've been talking about Jatinder Singh till the moon and back, and he's just a testament to how far that country's come in their cricket in the last 10 years. But the few other names, I think, if you look at our written articles, there are names like Shakil Ahmed. There are names like Aryan Bisht, who is a middle order batter. He can bowl some really decent off spin as well. He hasn't played but again, he showed his potential at the junior stage. So it'll be very interesting to see if some of their players can come to the fore. They have a guy called Vinayak Shukla, and I was trying to just tell if he's kind of related to Vikas, who's our producer. But jokes apart, it'll be interesting how Oman fare. Even if they finish third in that group behind India and Pakistan, it'll be something that they can hold on to.
Just
We
one
had
last
another
thing to add
question.
with
Oh,
Oman.
go on, Akshay. Yeah.
They've added Sulakshan Kulkarni to their coaching setup. And Sulakshan Kulkarni is someone who's rated very highly in the Mumbai circuit. So that is the only notable addition if I really want to add from mine. Players, we don't know so much. But this could be an interesting addition because he's someone who's very well reputed for his tactical know and whatnot. So let us see how he fares.
Right, guys, I think we can conclude this episode of MNL because I feel all the other ones we've kind of somehow invariably answered them. I see a couple of more coming, but if you guys go check out the preview, you would probably have your answers there. Ben saying, great. Now tell us any notable players in Hong Kong. Hong Kong, again, we've spoken about it. Go check out the preview. And again, if you guys like our written stuff, check out cricket.com's website for sure, because that'll be just a good sort of information check you need before the tournament starts tomorrow. Remember, we will be, of course, there next week, hopefully, in terms of doing the MNL for you. And who knows what lies ahead, but the thumbnail suggests who dares wins, and that should be the synopsis of this tournament. Akshay, thank you so much for your time. Nikhil, likewise. We can end on that chuckle, personal chuckle, but it is a chuckle nonetheless. Smash a like, tell a friend about us, and see you guys on the other side. Hopefully, it's a memorable Asia Cup, and hopefully, we've touched upon anything that you guys may have wanted to know. On that note, good night, goodbye, enjoy your dinners, and we'll see you shortly.